Okay, we're going to start recording this meeting. We will begin the Pseudo City City Council meeting for Thursday, May 21st. That is the wrong date. I didn't fix that, so pretend like that doesn't exist. Okay, scroll down. And I am now going to allow Mayor Snyder to take over, and we will go from there. Good luck, everybody.
Well, thank you very much. I now call the June 4th, 2020 meeting of the Pseudo City City Council meeting to order. Would the city clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember R. Curry.
Here.
Councilmember Eden.
Here.
Councilmember Lombardo. I'm here. And I know we had two more, but I can't seem to get to that part. I don't know who our other two council members are.
Stephanie Leary, I'm here.
Thank you. Is that everybody? George Constable. Is he on?
It does not appear he's here right now.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Now I would ask you all to please rise for the invocation and stay standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. Please bow your head. Father, thank you for every seat that has been filled here today, for each mind and heart that fills the presence of this room. We thank you. Only you truly know what we are setting out to accomplish today. We have an idea, a vision, hints, and daily instructions. We have talents, abilities, and time to work. However, only you can see in perfect detail the end of every beginning. Every project, every season, every life, nothing is ever in vain, for even mistakes and missteps are used for good. Your righteousness transcends all of our efforts and understanding. Set us free from comparison in order to work together efficiently. Bless this meeting today, all those present, as well as the lives of those we will encounter afterwards. In Jesus' name, amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. Can I have a motion?
Mayor,
Councilmember Eden.
I move to approve the agenda as published.
I'll second.
The motion's been seconded to approve the agenda as published. City Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Councilmember Eden.
Aye.
Councilmember Leary.
Aye.
Councilmember R. Curry.
Aye.
Councilmember Constable. Absent. Councilmember Lombardo. Aye. Mayor, it passes.
Thank you, ma'am. Now this takes us to the next portion of the agenda, which is Council Roundtable. At this time, if you have anything that you would like to bring forward, please let me know.
I have something, Mayor.
Yes, Councilmember Curry.
I just wanted to thank all the participants that have been here. I've received 3 emails from participants that could not be here that really raved about this, about the classes, about the presenters, about the staff, and So I just want to do the same thing about the participants because they've been excellent, even through trying to figure out how to do this in a totally different way. They've really stepped up and stood out, and the staff has been particularly awesome to work with and helping me figure out how to keep this going even in the current situation. So I applaud all of you and thank you, and it is truly appreciated.
Any other discussion for Council Roundtable? Seeing none, the next item on the agenda is proclamations. Anyone that is accepting the proclamation for the National Therapy Day, please come on up.
I'm about
Go ahead.
I'm about to unmute somebody just so they have to.
I'll accept.
Thank you, Citizen Crystal. There are thousands of pet partners, therapy animals teams serving in communities across the United States. And whereas pet partners are designated April 30th as National Therapy Animal Day, and whereas pet partners therapy animal teams in Pseudo City play an essential role in improving human health and well-being through the human-animal bond, and whereas pet partners therapy animals teams makes millions of visits per year in settings such as hospitals, nursing homes, schools, and hospice, and whereas pet partners therapy animals team interact with a variety of people in our community, including veterans, seniors, patients, students facing literacy challenges, and those approaching end of life. And whereas these exceptional therapy animals who partner with their human companions bring comfort and healing to those in need. Now, therefore, as the mayor of Pseudo City, do hereby proclaim April 30th, 2020 as National Therapy Animal Day in Pseudo City and encourage our citizens to celebrate our therapy animals and their human handlers. Further, I publicly salute the service of therapy animal teams in our community and communities across the nation.
Thank you, Mayor. Dixie and I would really like to thank you for recognizing the hard work of therapy animals throughout the community. We hope to continue to serve Lee Summit well.
Thank you very much. The next item on the agenda is a proclamation for Citizens Leadership Academy Day. Is there anyone that will be here to accept the proclamation for Citizens Leadership Academy Day?
I will accept.
Thank you.
Milan.
Wilson?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Now to read the proclamation. Whereas the city values citizens of the community, and whereas a citizens committee was formed entitled LS 360, more than 200 citizens served on the committee. And whereas one of the suggestions from the committee was the formation of the Citizens Leadership Academy. And whereas the city has held 9 academy classes since 2011. And whereas city officials are encouraged by success of this program and wish to acknowledge the accomplishments of those who have successfully completed this academy. Now, therefore, by virtue of the authority vested in me and the mayor of Pseudo City, I do hereby proclaim April 4th, 2020 as Citizens Leadership Academy Day. Would you like to say anything else? Would you like to say anything?
I would just like to say thank you on behalf of all of us. This has been a wonderful experience.
Excellent. Thank you so much. We now move to the public hearings portion of the agenda. I will now close the regular session and open the public hearing on application number 2020-420, special use permit for a medical marijuana dispensary, Mary Jane's Place, located at 420 High Street. Tommy Chong, applicant. Anyone wishing to speak on this matter, please stand and be sworn in by the city clerk.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
May we have the applicant's presentation, please?
Yes, Mayor, members of the council, thank you very much for allowing me this opportunity to come before you this evening. My name is Tommy Chong. Address is 420 Canada Dry Way, Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. I'm very excited to be representing Mary Jane's Place this evening. As you're aware, we're the largest medical marijuana dispensary chain in the country, with operations in Canada, the United States, and Mexico. We are looking to make Pseudo City our flagship store. We've experienced rapid growth over the last several years, and we think Pseudo City is going to be a great opportunity for us, as well as a great opportunity for the city. If I may, can I share my screen?
You may.
All right. So I have a very brief presentation to go over, and we're going to start with just a few pictures of where we're at, the surrounding areas, and what we envision from a building perspective as to what we're going to try to accomplish. So as you can see, we're located just to the south of the highway is where we're planning on going. This area has got a couple of businesses near it that we think will be a great complement to. We've got an Arby's to the east and Jack in the Box to the west. Based off of our market research, generally both of these types of businesses see increases whenever we are in the neighborhood. To our north and south, we've got some vacant ground and an abandoned property. We're hopeful that with our renovations and our income into the area, that these will see future development opportunities as well. Here's a picture of our current building, the current site. As you can see, it's an old White Castle facility. These have worked out very well for us in the future at other locations. In fact, so much so, I hope you all received the special burgers that I sent you the other day with a little bit of a sample of the product that we offer. So here's a rendering of what we can expect the building to look like after we're through with the construction. You see we've got our signage on there, our key green cross, very important for our marketing purposes as well. And as you can see, we're branding this the world's largest Mary Jane's coming to Pseudo City. And again, we're very, very excited for that. Here is a shot of the interior of one of our other facilities, so you can get a feel for the quality levels and the type of atmosphere that we will be providing across the city. With that, I would like to request the 15-year extension. I know staff is recommending a 10-year, but as you can see, with the level of investment that we are actually going to be placing into this this blighted area, the 15-year is really where we would much rather be on that. So I will say as well that through our market research, and we're expecting to generate roughly $20 million in taxable sales annually for the first year and continue to grow from there. So we do think we will have a big impact on the city in a positive manner. With that, I am available for questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chong. We'll hold questions until after staff has their opportunity to present. May we please have staff's presentation?
Sure, thank you. Mayor Robert Robertson, City Planner. I'd like to enter into the record Exhibit A, list of exhibits 1 through 36, please.
The exhibits are entered into the record.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Chong did a fairly adequate job of representing the proposed project that we are considering tonight. As mentioned, it's a medical marijuana dispensary. As you probably know, recently allowed within the state. They're looking at a half-acre parcel. It's about a 1,500 square foot building. Quite honestly, that's the first time I've seen the rendering. So Mr. Chong's done a lot of homework since Planning Commission on the new rendering, and I'll show you what was previously applied in their application, just so you're aware of that. One of the things we look for in citing one of these businesses is that we must be 1,000 feet from a church or a school or a daycare. They do fit that criteria. They're in a proper zoning district, in the CP2 zoning district, so that is permissible. I will note, they are requesting not requesting any modifications on this, so they do fit our zoning criteria for this site. I'm not sure why staff, I didn't catch this when I reviewed packets, but we have requirements in there for sale or lease of motor vehicles. So maybe staff was already eating one of those burgers that Mr. Chong had sent out. So you can disregard those remarks in the staff comment letter. I would note that today we did receive 2 protest petitions from the property owners who own the adjacent undeveloped parcels. Those generally, I'll share with you, they feel that the proposed use would be detrimental to their property values and diminish interest in the potential development of their parcels into a highest and best use for the community. We also did receive 2 letters of support from the adjacent fast food restaurants. So the 2 petitions we received does not trigger a super majority vote in order to approve the development. So if I can, Mayor, I'll share my screen and represent what the applicant did submit to us. If I can find that. And I'm not seeing it right now. So we'll leave that, but nevertheless, yeah, I can't find it right now. Nevertheless, the renderings that were shown are much improved. What was previously shown prior to the White Castle was an old Taco Bell building. So as you can imagine, that rendering that was just represented was much improved. With that, Mayor, I would note that there is adequate parking on the site, and the hours of operation are in compliance with the regulations. They're not operating on Sunday, and they anticipate that 6 jobs would be operating the business. So with that, I'll conclude my remarks and be happy to answer any questions.
Does anyone on council have questions for staff or for the applicant? Councilmember Arcuri.
Yes, I was looking at the signage and wanted to know if that signage actually met code.
At this time, we don't know because the renderings changed quite a bit from what they applied for.
Can the applicant speak to that in regards to their signage, not whether it meets code?
Yes, yes, I can. So our signage is slightly higher than what is currently allowed, and we are planning to go back through the process and receive the appropriate permits through a sign permit application, which would be a separate approval process.
I also wanted to know about the plants that are in the forefront. Will you actually have pot plants out front, or are you planning on going with the palms that were there?
We're looking at the palm trees to be there. We want to have they'll be irrigated in special hardy versions to be able to withstand the climate of the area. But yeah, we will not have any actual medical marijuana plants outside of the facility. They will be in the back in the secured area.
Okay, and my last question, Mayor, is on the pay. Are these going to be good paying jobs?
Yes, I can answer that question as well. Yeah, the starting salary, I believe, for this facility will be in the neighborhood of $25 to $30 an hour, and go up from there with sales bonuses as well.
All right, that's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Lombardo.
Thank you. My question for the applicant as well. How do you plan on handling social distancing?
So social distancing is one of the reasons why we've actually expanded the exterior area of the building. If I could share my screen again, I'll show you an area that we have specifically set up for that. So if you can see my cursor on the screen here, originally we weren't going to have such a large outdoor patio area, but we decided to go this route to ensure that we had plenty of queuing space in case the line needed to get out of hand or anything like that. So we had plenty of space for people to be separated. And then on the interior of the building, again, you can see there's a lot of space here, and we've only got 3 stools set up. So those will be able to be spread out plenty of distance.
Question for the applicant.
It looks nice. Is that a second patio on the side of the building?
Yes, patio as well as a potential drive-through.
And what type of material are you planning on using on the roof?
That'll be a TPO roof.
And Mr. Dunning, is that allowed by the UDO?
Mr. Robertson?
Mr. Robertson?
Yes, Councilmember Lombardo, TPO is permitted, THC roofs are not.
How many other businesses in that vicinity have that same material on the roof?
TPO, approximately 13.
Thank you, Mayor. That's all my questions.
Thank you. Do we have any others that would have questions for the applicant? Councilmember Eden.
First, Mayor, I'd like the record to show that I did not accept the gift or sample that was sent by Mr. Chong. My next question is for Mr. Robertson. It looks like there's a lot of seating in this particular building. Are they allowed to stay there and use the product?
So there are limitations on use within the dispensary itself. So I guess Mr. Chong's business, they probably, I don't want to speak on his behalf, but they're not allowed to use on the premises. And I heard him reference drive-through, so that would be appropriate. But utilization of medical marijuana at the facility is not permissible. So as he mentioned, he's one of the largest in the country. Well, not only the country, but Canada and Mexico. So we understand he does do a high volume business. And so while I have some time, I wanted to reference the 15-year versus the 10-year time frame that's being sought for the special use permit, because we have done some background on the operations of Mr. Chong, and while he does run a very large volume, we checked with some other communities, and there have been some issues with their facilities. So in our case, we felt it was more appropriate to go with a 10-year, see how things go. We can always renew those if things are going well. So we wanted to start with a 10-year special use permit, which is consistent with what we've done with the other operations.
Thank you, Mr. Robertson. Mayor, I have one more question.
Council member, if I may, I can address the seating issue, the seating question. We like to put our facilities a lot of seating areas to ensure that our customers are comfortable, and we offer kind of a concierge service so they can have a seat and be brought a catalog to be able to have a little bit of personal attention while they're making their selections.
Okay, thank you. Mayor, I have a question for the fire chief.
Go ahead, Councilmember Eden. Is the fire chief available for a question?
Yes, I am.
Excellent.
Yes, sir.
Mayor, I don't believe the fire chief was sworn in.
Fire chief, please rise and be sworn in.
Alrighty.
Tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead, Councilmember Eden. Please keep it brief.
Yes, sir. Just for a quick question, since this is a mercantile type occupancy where they sell product, but it looks like they're going to have a lot of people there. Does this building meet code as far as for the number of people that will be in the building? And have you reviewed it?
And are you talking in reference to the coronavirus or just the building itself and its regulations?
The building itself after COVID goes away and we have all the seating around the building.
Yeah, everything is up to code. We make
Okay.
sure. Thank you for your question.
Thanks, sir. I have no further questions, Mayor.
Thank you. Seeing no further questions from the council, is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak in support or in opposition to this application?
Hi, I would like to speak to this agenda item if I can, please.
Ms. Reeves?
Yes. So I am a longtime resident, first time attendee of city council meeting. And the reason why I came today is I subscribed to your guys' email newsletter, and I saw that you were going to be talking about this, and I have some concerns. I was wondering if you could address those for me. As a parent, I'm wondering what Mr. Chong is going to do to make sure that minors don't have access to his product. Because we've all been to a liquor store and we see how kids loiter out there trying to find somebody 21 to buy them alcohol. So what is he going to do to make sure people aren't doing the same thing for marijuana?
We appreciate your comments, Ms. Reeves. If any of the council members have that question, we can ask that here briefly. Is there any other people in the audience that would like to speak in favor or against, in opposition, this application? Seeing no additional comment, are there any additional questions for staff or the applicant?
Mayor, I do have a question. And I do want to thank Councilmember Eden. I had the same question originally. I am wondering, I saw in the packet that fencing was not supposed to be in front of a building. Would that courtyard meet the intent?
Mr. Robertson?
Yes, thank you for the question. Fencing, the reference to fencing, again, not sure why we put that in our staff report. That's relating to outdoor sales of motor vehicles. So it is appropriate in the rendering that Mr. Chong just showed us. That would be permissible, recognizing that sales of medical marijuana will not be occurring outside. They must be done in the actual building. So that is not an issue right now.
Thank you.
Are there any additional questions of staff or the applicant?
Yeah, I have a question for the applicant. Yeah, can you guys, the applicant, explain the percentages of THC and cannabinol content of your own specific product for medical marijuana?
The THC content depends on the individual strain that is chosen, and there's a wide variety, all the way down from making stuff up, 0.1% to 10%. So it covers a wide spectrum. And to address the other question regarding security, the way that the medical marijuana industry operates is through a seed to sale system. So there are limits on the amount that individuals can purchase, and they have to have an individual card in order to enter the facility. Part of our 6 full-time employees, 3 of those employees are in security. Security is a big issue, a big concern for all of these facilities, so we take that very seriously. And as well as we do not want the product getting in the hands of unintended individuals.
Thank you, sir. I'm not seeing any other additional questions. So I now close the public hearing and reopen the regular session. Are there any council comments on this application? Councilmember Lombardo.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd just like to say that I'm not a fan of these types of facilities going into our community, and I will be voting no. Thank you.
Councilmember Akuri.
Thank you, Mayor. I believe that our citizens have voted in favor of this, which is why this was brought before us. I believe it's a good plan. They've thought this out. It looks like a nice facility, definitely an upgrade from the White Castle that was there previously. They have met all of the code requirements, and so I will be in favor of this project. Thank you.
Councilmember Eden.
I still believe that there are some things that need to be addressed with this project. So I will be voting no.
Any additional comments from the council? Seeing none, Councilmember Leary, please read bill number 2020-1616.
Okay. I'm looking for it.
Bottom of page 3.
All right, I move for second reading of bill number 2020-1616 entitled An Ordinance Granting a Special Use Permit for Medical Marijuana Dispensary in District CP2 on land located at 420 High Street, Mary Jane's Place, for a period of 10 years, all in accordance with Article 17, the Unified Development Ordinance, Ordinance number 23875 for Pseudo City, Missouri.
I second.
We have a motion and a second for the reading of bill number 2020-1616. Is there any council discussion? Councilmember Eden.
I have no questions.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilmember Eden.
No.
Councilmember Leary.
No.
Councilmember Arcuri.
Aye.
Councilmember Constable. Absent. Councilmember Lombardo. No. Did not pass, Mayor.
The motion fails. Thank you. I will now close the regular session and open the public hearing on applications 2020-75869, preliminary development plan, Cloud9 Superstore, 1217 Southwest NBC Parkway. Justin Spitzer, applicant. Anyone wishing to speak on this matter, please stand and be sworn in by the city clerk.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
I do. May we have the applicant's presentation, please?
Yes, applicant's presentation. Good evening. My name is Justin Spitzer, 17 Southwest NBC Parkway. I'll go ahead and apologize in advance. I attended many of our corporate meetings today by Zoom, and there were significant connection issues that I had, some roboting, I've heard it's called. So if that happens during the presentation, my apologies. Our proposal is for a about 75,500 square foot, approximately 22.5 acres. Would be located at the northeast corner of Main Street and located in your your M251 corridor development overlay, which has additional design standards, sustainability elements, pedestrian and bike requirements, stormwater best management practices, and so we've included all of those in the design of the store. We meet most of the UDO requirements, floor to area ratio requirements, impervious surface coverage, open area requirements, and parking. We meet all of those requirements. There are a number of modifications that we're requesting, partly in an effort to comply with the corridor overlay standards that you have in place here. And I know that your city council is often concerned with those modifications. So I will walk through each of those and explain what those are. The first is a modification to the parking lot setback. The setback requirement is 20 feet. I think we're just a little bit closer at about 18 or 17 feet. So fairly straightforward request there. Second requirement is to have automatic door locks that are capable of being locked from the cash register or the counter. One of the things that we've learned is that this is not good CPTED practice. CPTED stands for Crime Prevention Through Environmental Design. So we're asking for a waiver from that requirement. Third, the trash enclosure screening requirement typically requires a steel gate that's the same color as the masonry on the other three sides of the trash enclosure. And we're asking for a mesh gate that would be the same color. The mesh gate, I think, is better for safety. It allows people who are inside to see out while it still provides adequate screening. The fourth requirement, mechanical units being screened by the parapet wall that's the same height. We would prefer to instead use mesh screening there also, which would be of the appropriate color. That allows for better air circulation on those units on the roof. And then the final waiver requirement is a change to the lighting. The UDO requirement is 10 to 30 foot candles maximum. We use a higher lighting requirement. This allows for better surveillance with our cameras. It's more secure site. So we're requesting those 5 modifications. And one thing that I noted in your meeting packet is that the draft of your ordinance only includes the first 4. So you may want to amend your ordinance to accommodate the lighting requirement modification that we're requesting. I have reviewed your transportation impact report, and it recommends removing the access from the southern driveway along Main Street, and we're in agreement with that change to the site layout. The zoning of the property is CP2, and I would note that all of the surrounding property is also zoned CP2. Surrounding uses include a service station, a bank, a fast food, one of your Happy Burger locations. So I think this is an appropriate location for our store. I think that covers everything that I needed to cover for our presentation. I'd be happy to answer questions if you have any questions for us.
Appreciate that. We'll hold questions until after staff presentation. May we have staff's presentation, please?
Thank you, Mayor. Rob Robertson, City Planner. I'd like to enter into the record Exhibit A, list of exhibits 1 through 62.
Exhibits A1 through 62 entered into the record.
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Spitzer did a phenomenal job, much better than Mr. Chong on representing this proposed project. As he mentioned, he covered all the modifications very well. This does fit within our M251 highway corridor development overlay very well, and they're introducing many of the sustainable types of features that we're looking for within this corridor. It is a rather large mega store, 75,000, almost 75,500 square feet. That is one of our concerns from a planning perspective is the large retail stores, the longevity of those. However, Cloud9 does run a pretty phenomenal operation. So, as far as the large mega stores, this perhaps is one of the cream of the crop, if you will. Mr. Spitzer did point out the modification with the lighting levels. So I want to make that very clear. The lighting that we use for parking lots, we call them shoebox fixtures. So we want all the light to be emitted down to the ground and not out to the traveling public. They are using appropriate fixtures in their parking lot. The only caveat to our modification to their light levels would be as we move to the property lines, we want to see those foot candles reduced so that that light is not spilling onto adjoining properties where adjoining property owners may not want that amount of light on their own properties. So he is correct. If you want to grant that modification, we would need to revise the ordinance accordingly. And I have some language if you'd like to entertain that. If I can show screen, I will show you the renderings. If you'll allow me to share my screen this time, hopefully I have it at the ready. And so hopefully you can see this visual here. You can see the large superstore. This is a similar store in another community, but this is generally the typical layout. And as you can see, they have ample parking in front with the service areas in the back. The screening that was referenced would be around the parapet areas, as well as the dumpster areas, which are back here. And staff is not opposed to that. It's a somewhat fairly, I won't say new material, but new to the Lee Summit area. And based on the submittals that Mr. Spitzer has provided, we find those to be acceptable and very durable materials that meet the intent of our UDO. I'll scroll down now to the front facade just to give you a little visual of what they're proposing for the front facade. So this is a little unique too, but we find that would be very compatible with the area. So with that, Mayor, I will conclude my remarks. Staff is in support of the preliminary development plan, and I'll stand for questions.
Are there any questions for staff or the applicant? Councilmember Arcuri.
I just wanted to check again and check on the signage, if that is going to meet the codes, if that's too much. And with the signage, is it going to look exactly like that?
Well, I have to admit, I hadn't seen that exact signage package before the meeting started. But yes, I think it's going to be very similar to that. It's pretty cool.
From a staff perspective, the cloud is pretty light. So we're not considering that cloud feature to be part of the actual sign. So from a weight perspective, we're okay.
Okay. And also, as far as family supporting wages, what will be the general average wage of this property?
The wage range is from around 20,000 for customer service all the way up to 125,000 or so for managers. The average wages are probably around 29,000 per year average.
Okay, Mayor, that's all I had. Thank you.
And I will also note that's a little bit higher than some of the other superstores that you may have shopped at.
It does sound a little higher, so thank you for that answer. Is there anyone, any additional questions for staff or applicant before we move to any public support?
Yes, Mayor. For the applicant, I'm wondering approximately how many employees do you plan on hiring locally?
For this size of store at 75,000 square feet, it would be about 190 full-time equivalent positions per year.
Okay. And what percentage of people will be full-time versus part-time?
I think the full-time positions are usually about 30%, and the part-time positions are the remainder.
Okay. And I have some citizens have contacted me with concerns regarding crime around big box stores like this. And I was wondering if you could share with us what your security features are and loitering to help alleviate the worries of some of these citizens.
Well, as I mentioned, we do have the better lighting that we're proposing. We have the state-of-the-art surveillance. We have surveillance cameras. We make it known that with the well-lit parking lot, the well-lit store, and lighting around. We also have security that works at the store. And given the COVID-19 situation, we have a bit of extra security to make sure that we're monitoring the flow of traffic in and out of our stores, and we're not exceeding the crime prevention.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilmember Arcuri.
I was wondering if you are going to be seeking any type of tax abatement for this.
No, we certainly aren't.
Excellent. Do you have additional questions?
Nope, that was it.
Excellent. Thank you so much. We'll now move to
Mayor.
citizen comment. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak in support or in opposition to this application? Seeing none. Are there any other questions for staff or the applicant?
I have a question for the city attorney.
Councilmember Curry.
Yes, Ms. Andrews, do you see anything wrong with the legalities behind this store and possibly being so close to other stores like it in this area?
It would have to do how far the business is from other places that could interfere, like a school or a church.
And has staff taken a look at that to verify that we won't have any controversy there?
Mr. Robertson.
Thank you, Mayor. We have looked at those distances, and given there are some undeveloped properties around there, that there are no issues with that. Now, having said that, if the store comes in first and then one of those uses that needs those maximum distances comes in after, then those distances would not be applied since the Cloud9 Superstore came first.
Councilmember Lombardo.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor, I'm not sure why, but Councilmember R. Curry should recuse herself from this discussion and this vote. If you did not see her her screen behind her, she's at a Cloud9 convenience store now. So she obviously has something to do with the business, and I believe she should not be included in the vote. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Does the city attorney have any comment to that?
I'm not sure it's a violation why our city council member would be at Cloud9 right at this moment.
I just had to run out for some things, so I was taking the meeting on the run. I'm just a consumer. I don't have any other involvement with this company.
Thank you. There's no additional questions for staff or the applicant. I will now close the public hearing and reopen the regular session. Are there any council comments on this application? Seeing none. Councilmember Eden.
I'd just like to say that I'm in favor of the project. It's good to see a big box store coming into the city, especially now with the competition they have with internet sales. And it will be good to see some stores and places for people to go to, especially after the COVID. I'll be voting in favor.
Thank you, Councilmember Eden. Seeing no other additional comment, Councilmember Lombardo, please read bill number 2020-1617.
Two zero
1617.
7. I move for a second reading of bill number 2020-1617, an ordinance approving a preliminary development plan on land located at 1217 Southwest NBC Parkway in District CP2, proposed Cloud9 Superstore, all in accordance with the provisions of the Unified Development Ordinance number 8323 3875 for Pseudo City, Missouri. I move for second reading.
Have a
Second.
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 Seconded by Councilmember Eden. We have a motion and a second for second reading of Bill number 2020-1617. Is there any council discussion? Seeing none, did staff have an additional comment they would like to add?
Yes, sorry, Mayor, thank you for allowing me the time. As mentioned during the public hearing, if the council, I just wanted to mention, if the council wanted to allow the modification for the lighting levels, we would need to amend the ordinance. So there would need to be amendment if the council was in favor of doing that. Thank you.
Thank you for the reminder. Mr. Robertson, is there any desire by council to amend the ordinance in reference to the lighting package that was discussed? Seeing no desire, we'll now ask the clerk to call the roll.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilmember Leary.
Aye.
Councilmember Eden.
Aye.
Councilmember Arcuri.
Aye.
Councilmember Constable. Absent. Councilmember Lombardo. Aye. It passes, Mayor.
Thank you. We're now moving on to the public comment portion of the agenda. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak to address the City Council? Mr. Swanson, please come to the podium, state your name and address.
Mayor Snyder, Ron Swanson, Director of Parks. I noticed that I wasn't invited to this meeting. I think the reason for that is because I'm opposed to Bill number 2020-1618, the ordinance of the practice of the trap, neuter, and release of the feral cats. The reason for my opposition to this is that the amount of cats in the city is it continues to be overrun, and the proposed location to release them is directly adjacent to one of our parks. I think we need an alternate location and perhaps an agreement with Mock City to ship them some feral cats.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the audience that wishes to address the City Council? Seeing none, we'll now move to presentations. Is there any, the first presentation is continued discussion on options for a homeless shelter, halfway house within the city limits. Whoever's presenting, please come to the podium and make your presentation. Is anyone planning on speaking on this subject this evening? Seeing no one jump out there, I'm going to move on to resolutions for the evening. Next is resolutions. Would the city clerk please read resolution number 20-65?
Thank you, Mayor. Resolution number 20-65, a resolution of the City Council of Pseudo City, Missouri concerning community resilience through the implementation and preservation of urban agriculture and community farming within city limits.
Do we have a motion for adoption?
I motion, where you go? I motion for adoption of resolution, are we on 2066?
2065, that's correct, ma'am.
2065, thank you.
Do we have a second?
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second to adopt resolution number 20-65. Clerk, please call the roll.
Mayor, I had a question.
Councilmember Arcuri.
Yes, I was just wondering if there were plans by the Parks Department, since he got into this meeting uninvited, if there was plans to have the parks open up certain areas for urban farming.
Appreciate that comment. And for pure entertainment, I'm going to call the Parks Director to the podium.
Yes, we have designated some pieces of ground that are available. However, we are going to have to charge a fee for the rental of that ground. We can't have the use of that ground if it's not being used for parks purposes without a slight fee associated with that, as well as a royalty off of any sort of farmers market processes or proceeds.
Thank you, Mayor. That's all.
Thank you so much. Now, if I could have the clerk call the roll, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilmember R. Curry.
Aye.
Councilmember Leary.
Aye.
Councilmember Constable. Absent. Councilmember Eden.
Aye.
Councilmember Lombardo. Aye. Mayor Snyder.
Aye.
Mayor, it passes.
Thank you. Would the clerk now read resolution number 20-66?
Resolution number 20-66, a resolution of the City Council of Pseudo City, Missouri, adopting updated utility fees.
We have a motion for adoption.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion for adoption of resolution number 20-66.
Mayor, I second.
I have a motion and a second to adopt resolution number 20-66. Clerk, please call the roll.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilmember Leary.
Aye.
Councilmember Eden.
Aye.
Councilmember R. Curry.
Aye.
Councilmember Constable. Absent. Councilmember Lombardo. Aye. Mayor Snyder.
Aye.
Mayor, it passes. Thank you.
Thank you. And now would the clerk now read resolution number 20-67?
Resolution 20-67, a resolution of the City Council of Pseudo City, Missouri, confirming commitment to obligations associated with the U.S. Department of Interior Bureau of Reclamation Water SMART Grant Program.
Do I have a motion for adoption?
I motion for adoption of resolution number 2067, a resolution of the City Council of Pseudo City, Missouri, confirming commitment to obligations associated with the U.S. Department of Interior Bureau of Reclamation Water SMART Grant Program.
I second.
I have a motion and a second to adopt resolution number 20-67. Clerk, could we please have you call the roll?
Thank you, Mayor. Councilmember R. Curry.
Aye.
Councilmember Leary.
Aye.
Councilmember Eden.
Aye.
Councilmember Constable, absent. Councilmember Lombardo, aye. Mayor Snyder.
Aye.
Thank you, Mayor. It passes.
Thank you. We'll now move on to proposed ordinances for first reading. Will Councilmember Eden please read bill number 2020-1618?
I move for second reading of bill number 2020-1618, entitled an ordinance approving the practice of trap, neuter, and release, or TNR, of feral cats by sponsors approved by the Codes Department of Pseudo City, allowing the same to humanly trap, spay, and neuter, and return feral cats to a colony in the area they were found, and to provide guidance to feral cat caregivers.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to adopt bill number 2020-1618. Is there any council discussion?
Mayor,
Councilmember Eden.
how many, I have a question on this particular resolution or proposed ordinance. How many cats are we talking about per year? And do we have that many?
Mr. Robertson, do you have comment for staff?
Well, I don't see Ace Ventura here. Unfortunately, he has a fever this evening, cat scratch fever. If I recall, last I talked with him, and don't quote me on the number, but I think it was in around the tune of 1,639 that we're dealing with. And that's amongst three cat caregivers.
That's a lot of cats.
That's quite a few per cat giver. That's correct.
And how is this financed?
Well, as you heard Mr. Swanson talk, there's not a whole lot of financing available now, but he's trying to make this into a revenue generating process that would be helpful to the Parks Department. So right now, we in the general fund are kind of struggling with how to deal with this.
So if I take my cat, leave it outside, and it needs to be neutered, somebody will come along, trap it, neuter it, release it, or return home.
That's what we're striving for, but we're not there yet.
Okay.
Thank you. Is there any other additional council discussion?
Yes, I have a question, Mayor.
Councilmember Arcuri.
This would go to Chief Zendejas. I'm sure I pronounced your name incorrectly, and I do apologize. But I would like to know, being the chief of police that is over animal control, how are they going to staff this and have the vet options available for the safe treatment of these animals?
Could we please have the chief of police? Seeing no response, could the city manager speak to that? I apologize, but we don't have any additional response for that. And seeing no other additional comments, I will now ask the city clerk to call the roll.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilmember Leary.
Oh.
Councilmember Eden.
Aye.
Councilmember Arcuri.
Aye.
Councilmember Constable, absent. Councilmember Lombardo, no. Mayor Snyder.
No.
Thank you, Mayor. That did not pass by a vote of 3-2.
Thank you. Now we'll ask Councilmember Arcuri, please read bill number 2020-1619.
Here we go. An ordinance, I move for second reading of an ordinance protecting victims of automobile theft from paying storing, towing, and administrative fees directly related to the recovery of a stolen automobile by amending ordinance number 67468, approved June 11th, 2019, and containing a severability clause.
We have a second.
I second.
Councilmember Lombardo with the second. I have a motion and a second to adopt bill number 2020-1619. Is there any council discussion? Seeing none, would the clerk please call the roll?
Thank you, Mayor. Councilmember Constable is absent. Councilmember Leary.
Aye.
Councilmember Eden.
Aye.
Councilmember Arcuri.
Aye.
Councilmember Lombardo, aye. Mayor Snyder.
Aye.
It passes, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. We now move to committee reports on the portion of the agenda. Are there any committee reports this evening? Councilmember Arcuri.
I just wanted to note that the Finance and Budget Committee will be meeting on June 8th at 5 p.m. via video conference.
Any additional? Councilmember Lombardo.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to remind everybody that HHW is open now, and they are now taking appointments for any paint or oil that you might need to get rid of. Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no further committee reports, we'll now move to council comments. Are there any council comments? Councilmember Arcuri.
Yes, I was just wanting to speak regarding stormwater. I didn't know if the Public Works Director was still here, if he would be able to provide us just a brief statement on the current stormwater status after last Thursday's rain and last night's rain, how that turned out.
Excellent. Could the Public Works Director please come forward?
Yes, I'm here. I'm sorry.
Yes, could you provide us a report on the stormwater issues from last night's storm?
Yes, we had no issues with the stormwater. You know, at the city, we like to hire the best consultants that provide us with the best sets of plans, with the most accurate engineering calculations that result in drainage systems and networks throughout the cities that appropriately drain all of our storm sewers correctly and efficiently.
Thank you very much for that. Is there any additional council comments this evening? Seeing none, we'll now move to staff roundtable. Does the city manager have any comments?
Hi, yes. I was wondering if the, Mr. Swanson, we recently announced that we are canceling our Legacy Park fireworks that we do every year due to COVID-19. Mr. Swanson, do you want to give an update and give a little bit more information about that and what our plans are in the future to celebrate Independence Day?
Yeah, the current pandemic has really put a damper on everyone's fun. So as a result, we're currently targeting having a St. Patrick's graduation, Mother's Day, Father's Day, 4th of July, Halloween celebration Halloween this year. We're going to have the Booze, Barks, and Badges Parade is going to start at City Hall and go down to Legacy Park. It's going to be a long parade because it's a big celebration. And then we'll end with a fireworks show at Legacy Park on the night of Halloween with trick-or-treating as well.
That was sure to be a good time. Thank you very much, Mr. Swanson. That's all we have. Thank you very much.
Mayor, if I could, please.
Councilmember Arcuri.
Has this been approved through the fire department? That seems like a huge fire hazard. Could the fire chief speak to that?
Ms. Reeves, is the fire chief available to speak to that comment?
Is the fire chief still available?
I heard he's a wonderful guy.
Let's see, is he still on here?
Looks like Mr. Robertson's jumping in for you, ma'am.
Yeah, I'll chime in just from
From
a planning perspective. It's usually a little wetter in October than it is July. So from a planning perspective, we don't see big issues with this.
And I appreciate that because I know that you always put fire safety in the forefront of all planning. So I appreciate that very much. Councilmember Eden, did you have a comment?
I would just like to say that I think it's a great opportunity, and I hope that they go through the permitting process. Just as a note, we do have a lot of tents opening up soon. So it'll be an opportunity for people to go out and shoot off fireworks on the 3rd, 4th, and 5th this year. So just hope everybody behaves themselves.
Hey,
That was a great
Mayor.
remark. Yes.
Mayor, can you speak a little bit to the financial resources surrounding this celebration so the public can understand how we're going to be paying for it?
No, I think that'd be a great discussion to bring back up at the Finance and Budget Committee on June 8th as we dive deeper into this next fiscal year. I will definitely propose that to you to bring forward in that presentation. I appreciate that opportunity. Is there any other staff comments? Seeing none this evening, seeing no further business, this meeting is now adjourned. Thank you all. And it is 1924, 7:24. That's a great record. I appreciate everybody's efficiency.
Thank you.
How long do city council meetings usually go?
I would just let you know that at the bottom of the agenda, it says that no additional further business will be considered after 11 p.m.
How often are you bumping up against that, I guess is my question.
Well, me being the new person, it's not been too bad, but I've heard stories that they used to go longer, so I'll defer.
Yeah, we've had some meetings that, gosh, back in the late 90s, early 2000s, that were going to 1 o'clock in the morning.
And I think the latest one that we've had recently was close to.
There was one meeting, I think we set the record. Yeah, back in that time period that Robertson just mentioned, I remember having a closed session as late as 2:30 in the morning.
Wow. Chief Eden, do you have any other times that beat those?
I believe I was at a few of those meetings. Not only did council go long, but planning commission used to go just as long. And those meetings have been shortened dramatically. But it says a lot about the process and how we're getting through things more efficiently. But yeah, there have been some meetings you needed to bring a pillow.
I'd say they go anywhere to about 9 or 10 o'clock at the most anymore, 9 o'clock.
Is the planning commission usually part of, right before the city council, or for these purposes were they just put together?
So a lot of the planning commission items they have to go to city council for public hearing as well. So the process is 2 public hearings. So this wouldn't have been an atypical agenda. With 2 public hearings, they would have went to planning commission 2 weeks prior.
I can promise you when the marijuana dispensaries come up, the conversation will be a whole lot longer.
Is there any other additional questions or comments? So I guess I'm done. So I'll turn it back over to you, Tricia. I'll be quiet.
Oh, you can still be mayor. I like it.
Oh.
I really want to tell everybody how much I appreciate both the participants taking their time tonight and staff. I work with some really awesome people. I have absolutely loved this class. It sucks so much that this coronavirus came and took our Saturdays away, but I really appreciate you guys spending Thursdays with us, and the staff that is working from home and took their time to be a part of this. It's been, it really shows you the sense of community that we have. We have some awesome people in this community, and I can't say enough good things about everybody that's here. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Tricia, for making sure we're able to finish this. I wasn't sure what was going to happen, but I'm excited we were at least able to try to still be able to do everything.
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you to all the participants as well. I hope you enjoyed the class. Obviously, we enjoy presenting and having a little fun here. Thank you for your time and attention to all of this. And I hope to see you a lot more in the future. So thank you.
Yeah, Ryan, I'd echo that, and then just encourage everybody to stay engaged and be active and find ways to make a difference. It does make a huge impact. Find something that you're passionate about and go to work. I mean, that's what makes Lee Summit great. So thank you all for all of your participation. We know it's a commitment, and unfortunately, with the things we're going through, well, Trish and you guys did a great job. Hopefully you still got all the content and the meaningful purpose behind the class. So thank you.
Anybody else have anything?
Hey, I just want to say to Trisha, for all of your work that you put into this and all of the follow-ups and reminders, and clearly you've just been, grinding to do all this. So thank you very much. I'm sure I speak for a lot of members of the class, and I show my appreciation.
You're very welcome. And anybody can contact me at any time. If I don't have the answer, I'll get you to one of our very capable staff people that will get you the answers. You guys definitely got the condensed version of the class. You are welcome to come back next year if you want to take it over again. And I hope that you guys will make it to our alumni. When we do their first meeting next year, you guys will come to our alumni. I'll be sending out more information on this meeting also. And if you guys will still fill out the evaluations for the classes, even though it's going to be a little mixed up because they're not going to follow that same order, that helps us improve on next year and continue to improve or stick with things we did right.
How do you want that sent to you?
You can, I work with you, so you can either put it in interoffice mail. Those that I don't work with, you can email those to me if you want to scan it and email it, or put it in the the regular mail. If you have questions, I can even email you an electronic copy if you want to fill it out online and send it back to me if that's easiest. Anybody else have any questions or comments or anything? Because I'm kind of sad now that this is all done and over.
Hey, quick question just about City Hall and how many people are still working remotely. Are you guys still primarily working remotely?
Yeah, currently we're very well set up to work remotely. We do have what I'll call skeleton crew to allow for that in-person business because that is important for those that don't have the ability to do a lot of things electronically. So I'll say we're still encouraging the remote work through this phase. And then as we go into phase, I guess we're going backwards, right? So back into phase 2, we're in phase 3 right now. If we go back into phase 2, we'll just gradually, we'll certainly continue to monitor what takes place, but just gradually get back into some sense of normalcy.
Yeah, I'll say from City Hall, we've kind of set it up to allow for proper social distancing throughout. If you haven't been in there lately, we've got one way in, one way out. We've split the services based off of the service counters, and we've marked the floor with the social distancing marking reminders. I know from our perspective with the development side of things, we were able to gear up pretty quickly to accept a lot of things online. So that helped us out a lot throughout all of this. And we've seen minimal traffic come back to our front counter. So it's a good mix right now, and we'll phase in as we continue to move through this.
And I'd just like to jump in there. I mean, and you're going to see differences throughout the city because each department provides different types of services. And obviously we wanted to get City Hall open as quickly as we could so we could provide those that did not want services from the online resources. The fire specifically, we're out there each and every day. And quite frankly, our exposures have increased over the last several weeks with the a couple of facilities in town that we're frequenting. So we will not be opening to the public as quickly as you will see the other departments. But I'm excited to let you know, and I know Chief Eden and his group's working on it, is coming up with virtual fire truck tours and virtual station tours. So we're going to continue to explore options. It's challenging us to think outside the box, and we're excited to take on that challenge and see what we can do so we can at least provide something that everyone's used to in regards to that. So, but each department is going to be slightly different. There is great information out on the website that shows you what each location is closed, etc. So, just wanted to let you know there will be some variables.
Thank you. I wanted to make note that we were using the chat feature during this council meeting, and I meant to mention this earlier. Mayor Baird has disabled that chat feature, so when you see a city council meeting going on, none of that has happened over to the side. There's no side comments. I believe there was a city that got in trouble by using that chat feature. So just so you guys know that we are not allowed to do that at council meetings. So there's no side chatter. Just a legal comment there. Does anybody else have anything? I do not see anything. Again, I appreciate all of you. You've been great. Don't be a stranger. Stay safe. Take care. We'll get through it. Thank you all so much.
Hi, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks.